Coach Kyle got it done, man.
Yeah,
Coach Kyle got it done.
It's a remarkable story, and it really, as you said, it put things in perspective in life.
The doctors don't know where it came from.
Yeah.
It could happen to anybody.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's one of the things of life. You never know what you're going to encounter, when you're going to encounter it, how you're going to encounter it. But the thing is, faith has kept him grounded, his family,
And his
and
wife.
support system. Yeah,
His wife and little daughter, man, keeping that man going. His wife is probably tougher than, say, Nick Saban.
Yeah, absolutely. That toughness comes when you have to be a part of someone that you've been a part of, and now it's all a total different piece of the puzzle. She's never seen this strong man weak. She's never seen this man go through what he's going through. And now a part of her, of the vows, until sickness and in health, and the riches and all of that come in play when you take those marriage vows.
Yeah.
When you see yourself going through this, it's so touching.
Use the hands like this, because if we hit the table too much, Don says we're knocking this baby out of the ballpark. We got to keep this baby in the ballpark. Happened to me the first week.
Yeah,
we got some new tables at Shane's, reinforcements here for us.
Right.
Got Swihart in the house, and I could have John in here again on board. He's Southeast Government. Always show your Falcon pride. John's key phrase from Southeast, and always appreciate that.
And then one of the things about that the coach said that at the end that just touched my heart was that is faith. You know, and you and I talk, you and I, we both have strong faith. And once your faith is really tested, once you're really in a situation that you can't say nothing else but it was your faith, that's a story. And then I was just thinking about the young kid we had on that was at Bishop McGinnis.
Yeah. Spencer Wilson.
Spencer Wilson, absolutely.
Yeah, Spencer Wilson,
and then to have a coach this year, and both of those guys said the same things about the cancer and how it take a toll on your body and how you almost can't even want to get out of bed, but they're willing to continue to go. That's so important, man. It's just touched me. Wow.
Yep.
Just touch it.
It's been some good experiences. Very good experiences. Very good guest tonight. Doug Henderson Jr., Coach Henderson's son, stepped up tonight to the plate. He was with us here at Shane's Rib Shack, and a big ceremony tomorrow night honoring Coach Doug Henderson. Thought about having Coach Henderson in, but I think maybe sometimes the stage like this, the event like this, maybe a little too much for Coach Henderson, because he just wanted to cut to the chase, man. Let's get down to the game. Let's stick to the basics. This might be beyond him a little bit as far as what he would normally be used to. So Doug Henderson Jr., he hit the home run. Coach Chris Kyle hit the grand slam.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're just the guys right now cleaning up.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the ready to turn the lights out at the ballpark.
Those Western Guilford kids did a super job, too. They're just looking for one thing. They're hungry right now. They got some food at Shane's Rib Shack, but those Western Guilford kids are hungry right now for a victory. 0-3 to start the year. They're feeling the need to succeed.
Yeah, absolutely. And time is of the essence, because now you're at the fourth ball game, you know, and then before you know it, you'll be in the meat of your conference, and that's when the competition.
And the next thing you know, you're in the fourth game of the year. Next thing you're at Game 5.
Absolutely.
You look around. If I'm drawing up the plan, how this thing shakes out, Game 5 is almost a split. That's almost halfway through the year.
Yeah,
This goes that fast.
You're absolutely right, and one of the things that Kevin Gushman, is it Gushman? Right?
Gushman.
Said that, you know, he's able to do a lot of things, you know, kick the ball with his right foot, kick the ball left arm side, recover. But he said all he wants is a win.
Right.
You know, all of the things, the heroics, all the things he's doing, is he want that W, and that's what it comes down to. You know, the fourth game of the season.
Well, it's like I was telling him. I was saying, gosh, you want to get on the kickoff team, you want to get on the return team, the defense, the offense. You want to help get the field mode before the game, get everything in place, line the field off. But the most important thing you want is that victory.
You want the victory.
Sweet. I always call it doing the baseball games. You go down there for that baseball game. You get there about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Get there early, a couple hours before the game even starts. Try to talk to the coach. You get down, you get all your lineups done, you get your notes together. But at the end, everybody's going, well, they didn't win, but whatever. I came down here for the sweet taste of success, sweet taste of victory.
Absolutely. That's like coming to dinner and when you get it, you don't want to eat it. You know,
Yeah.
that's the part you come for. You come to eat and enjoy, and that's what they come to get the victory. And one of the things I like about those four gentlemen tonight, all of them were so poised. They was just so very respectful and enjoyed Greensboro sports. They was just so thankful. You know, that make me enjoy coming and being a part of doing what I do.
Yeah, it seems like you hadn't been here about a year because you missed us during basketball last year because you were in college doing some college work and got Dennis back in here for the first time in a long time.
Absolutely, and I realized I can't hit the tables. You know, I love hitting the tables.
Yeah.
So now,
well, we used to knock on wood.
Right.
Now we don't slam on.
We used to arm wrestle. You know, it was arm wrestling here.
Arm wrestling people.
Do all kind of contests here. Now we have to, and I like this, John, be able to sit, you know, with my hands together. That's teaching me not to use hand language. So, but it's a great show. I've enjoyed it.
Unlike your days back when you were taking the martial arts from the Lee brothers, from Keith and Chris and Bruce and all the Lee brothers, you got to kind of lay off that hand some of it now, kind of ease up on that, and I have too.
Absolutely. I've been meeting sometime and doing the hand language, and I just have to catch myself.
Well, you were doing the hand language last week. You had a revival going on down in South Carolina last week.
Yeah, like I was telling Don, we had a wonderful time, outstanding, and ended. I'm still receiving emails and text messages of the great time we had. It was such a blessing, and I was torn between you on that Friday night and the last night of revival, but we made it through, and I was able to listen to you.
We were able to get blessed with Ron Bug Harris join us. We didn't have Bug Howard from the Tar Heels. We did have Ron Bug Harris, who was with us last Friday night and had a heck of a game. I mean, I think about this ball game's kind of crazy. Southeast is rolling out there. Southern's rolling out there. First play from the scrimmage for Southern, 82-yard touchdown pass from the quarterback Stoner to his receiver Hawk, and then the next thing you know, Southeast gets the ball back. 50-yard touchdown run for Southeast by Mr. Stevenson. He runs one for 50 yards. And then Southern gets the ball. Next thing you know, there goes Gillespie, 72 yards. I mean, big plays like bang, bang, bang. We've got a shootout on our hands here.
Absolutely.
Wild game.
And you know, you and I have been on a party for a long time, and I love to see those types of starts because they get everybody in the stands. You can't go get popcorn, you can't get a hot dog. You stand and watching because it's real, it's on. And I hate I missed that game, but we enjoyed the revival.
In the beginning, man, I was missing you like crazy because the past couple of years, you've been the guy writing down the touchdowns and numbers.
Right.
Here I'm writing all this down and calling this out. Like a wild machine rolling here trying to keep up. That was some offense last night down there at Bill Slayton Athletic Field.
Right, yeah.
I told Coach Slayton I must have mentioned his name about 100 times at the Bill Slayton Athletic Field last week.
Yeah, you almost needed a dictator, you know, to put it all down.
Typing that in there.
And it's a lot. People don't realize, man, it's a lot
keep up with,
that you have to keep up with.
There's a lot going on.
It's a lot. And, you know, myself.
Because I told Ron Bug Harris, I said, we'll probably have about a 7-6 game at halftime. Two tough defenses hit this field, be fighting back and forth just to get that key point. And then Coach Kyle's offense takes off. Mr. Stevenson running like crazy. And then Bubba Craven runs like back-to-back 70-yard, 25-yard run, 45-yard run. The offense just cranks up. Wild game last week.
Yeah. And coming into the game, I had the edge to Southeast due to the way Southeast has been playing, the style of Southeast ball, but I had no idea. You've been talking about this kid Gillespie, man, for the last couple of years.
He's a real deal.
He's a real deal now. He's coming to his own. There is no more in the shadow of Mosley now. It's all Gillespie's show, and Gillespie is doing an outstanding job.
He's a tough back, very tough back, strong back too.
He reminds me so much, as you said, you hit it right on the nail right on the head, Elijah Hood. He is certainly, I think the only thing that Gillespie had that Hood didn't have that burst of speed.
Right.
Gillespie had the force to run over you, but Gillespie had that power to run around you.
So what should we do? So TJ Logan transferred to Guilford College. I'm talking to the Guilford College coach this week. I got Bubba Craven's name listed in Bubba's name. TJ Logan, should he transfer? Carolina only got like about 10 carries last week, 8 carries, got less yards. Should TJ be considered transferring, or should he hang in there with Elijah Hood and Romar Morris and Chris Francis and all those Carolina running backs? Because the quarterback, Marquise Williams, is going to run that ball quite a bit too. Should TJ hang in, or should he be thinking about taking his services elsewhere?
Yeah, he hang in there. You have to. Those are the first first game that happened. And I think that T.J. Logan is a smart kid.
He's doing a good job on those kickoff returns, too. Averaging about maybe 40-some yards, 30-some yards a return. But if I'm just a kickoff, man, I still want to get involved in that offense, too. I'm like Ryan Switzer. Switzer's a great punt return, man, but he wants to be a good receiver, too. So T.J. should just hang in.
I think he should hang in, and, when the 6th or 7th game come around, and we'll see where he's at that point. And then, he can reevaluate the thing. But I think that
I guess if they're winning, everybody's happy.
Everybody's happy. If you're winning, at the end of the day, you go into a conference championship perhaps, or you go into another bowl, and those things mean a lot. TJ is such a humble kid, man. He's not used to that role at all. He's used to being in the game,
top dog,
out the game, in the game, and out the game, all night long, and not just used to being out the game. So that's a very, very interesting point you brought up, and that's something to really think about.
Something to think about down the road.
Absolutely. Very good point.
I figure if he went to Guilford College, and I'm just throwing that out as an example because I've been pushing these Quakers pretty heavy, been up there quite a bit, watching their games, watching their practice. Got a lot of local kids playing for Guilford. Matt Pulaski, the quarterback. Tyler Hunt from Guilford College, Eastern Guilford, just named the D3 punter of the week for the entire Division III. You got Austin Thompson out of Southern Guilford, receiver. Tyreek Abel had, I think, 8 tackles to the defense last week. Got tons of local kids on that team, right and left and all about. Had our good buddy Josh Williams, GreensboroSports.com, caught a touchdown pass last Saturday night. Then he broke his collarbone, out 4 to 6 weeks at least.
Oh, wow.
Broke his collar. I saw Josh up there. Yeah, Josh, what's with the sling, man? What's going on?
Wow.
He goes, broken collarbone, caught a touchdown pass. But if somebody like T.J. Logan did transfer to Guilford, there was a kid named Chris Warren who transferred from Virginia to Ferrum years ago. This is an example we always use. Ferrum, he came to Ferrum, Chris Warren, out of University of Virginia, good running back there, but he went over to Ferrum, did well at Ferrum, went to the NFL, played for the Seahawks 10 years, so you can still get there out of D3.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not quite as easy.
And I tell people, it's what you possess, it's what the NFL is looking for, not so much where you are, the team, because when you look all through the NFL, Tom Brady didn't go to a school that was everybody knew Tom Brady. Tom Brady was 298th draft pick.
Yeah, he was out of Michigan, but he wasn't like a main name
in Michigan. Wasn't the main name in Michigan.
Wasn't the main name at all.
Yeah, so even if you're the top, even if you're the top school and not a top name, you still have an opportunity. But being at a top school with a top name and not going anywhere, that's the hurting part.
And that one guy with the Redskins now used to be with another team. I think he was with the Colts or somebody, Pierre Garcon. He was a D3 man.
Yeah,
D3
absolutely.
player.
You have a lot of guys come. Dexter Coakley came from Appalachian State.
Yeah.
And went to Dallas Cowboys. And
look at a guy like Dino Hackett, played in the NFL right around 10 years out of Appalachian State.
Absolutely.
John Settle out of Rockingham County, good running back. He was running backs coach of the Panthers for a little while. And Settle, he was in the NFL with the Falcons and several other teams for a few years.
And you're absolutely right. There's so many names that you and I could go through the list. But you're right. And I believe that it's not so much the name of the school you're at, but what you're doing. Because if you're worth your salt, NFL scout would find you out. Yeah, they will certainly
Speaking about that, finding you out, we have found out some news this week about Commissioner Goodell, and we asked the players tonight if Commissioner Goodell told you he came by your game and he's in charge of all the activities there. And he said, well, Commissioner Goodell ought to be able to help me out. I hurt my ankle. I need some tape. I need to get my ankle taped up. Commissioner Goodell said, we don't have any tape. There is no tape. Do you believe Commissioner Goodell?
Absolutely. I would believe it, because if somebody else seen the tape and now the tape is not there, so I'll be wondering where's the tape. But that's a very, very good segue, Andy, to come into. The NFL is under a lot of scrutiny right now. Goodell, you and I talked earlier today, a great conversation with you earlier today about Goodell, and it's a lot of, and more is coming out, on Goodell, and a lot of people is calling now for his head on a platter, so to speak. They're calling for his resignation, and who knows how this thing's going to turn out. He's in a lot of hot water right now with the public.
In his situation, maybe you could pull something like President Obama is able to do sometimes in the summer. Maybe he's got a 2-week vacation stacked up at Camp David. Maybe go there for a couple weekends.
He won't be going to Martha's Vineyard. I tell you that. He wouldn't be welcome there with his types of behavior that he's doing. So and the thing that we look at, I think that I was thinking on this on the way over. I think that if it wouldn't have been a domestic case, if it would have been, say, something else, I think Ray Rice, I don't think nobody would be having this conversation.
Right.
But with all of the violence, the high level of violence going on in society with domestic violence, you are under the microscope now.
And with all this social media, I mean,
Yeah,
nowadays,
absolutely.
I didn't
That's
see it,
it.
I think, maybe yet, but everybody's got a chance to see these tapes and these
Absolutely.
videos. They're all over the place.
Yeah, in
You
today's
see a
society.
man dragging his wife
Yeah.
to out of an elevator. That doesn't make any sense.
No, not at all, not at all. And when you look at the validity of it, Andy, if it's just an argument, or a shove, you go on to the next day. But now there's no next day for Ray Rice of his football for now. And there was Paul George had made a tweet that they came down on him too hard. But when Paul George saw the tape, he retracted his statement and went on Twitter, blocked it out and everything because he didn't see the tape. But once you see the gruesome of the tape, that make you change your mind on the whole.
You don't even have to really see him hit his wife. You just see the part about dragging her. That just drives you crazy right there.
That right there, as a man, that just took me to a whole another level. To do someone you love that way, do a human that way.
And it's an interesting relationship when Ray Rice's fiance then decides to marry him after they went through all that. I mean, I don't know.
I don't know. And
It's a lot of forgiveness there, I'm sure, but I don't know if there's any skepticism. Must not be any skepticism there about the future.
absolutely. And then one of the things I've learned in counseling, as also in giving advice, you never judge a person in that situation. His wife leave us to you don't know the situation, and you never tell a person what to do in that situation. But you tell them, you can't tell a person to leave, or don't get married, because at the end of the day they're going to make that decision. What you do is give them the best advice on what they would do or what they can do. Only thing I'm telling you what I would do, I would get away from this guy because he's going to hurt you next. What's going to be next?
Yeah, because somebody's on the phone one night talking, they're talking about the bad situation. They're telling that person the first chance you get out of there, don't go back.
Right, absolutely. And the person chooses to stay, and I put myself in a position not to tell a person what or what not to do, but do what's best for you, because we don't know all of the circumstances surrounding this relationship. But you and I, in our minds, to see somebody in a relationship 1 month or 2 months getting beat, not married, then you married the person. That just doesn't set well with people.
Gotcha.
But you never know why.
And you think about Mr. Rice, if he came to the Dennis White with Dennis and Nathan and Ebony and Wanda, the family there, came to the family picnic, who would Mr. Rice be sitting beside the picnic?
He'll be sitting out, I'm in the middle, he's on the end, and I've got the whole family down on my right.
So you put him on the very end of that picnic bench and you're sitting right beside him
Absolutely, because my family is strong right, and he's on the weak side. So.
Gotcha. You've got him covered. No blind side
No
in here.
blind side, dog. You keep the family always on the strong side.
Gotcha. How about this big game with the Carolina Panthers on Sunday, taking on the Detroit Lions, as there's a local interest in kind of a local investment with Eric Ebron with the Lions. You think the Panthers win that game? That'll be Cam Newton's first start of the year. He didn't start that first game. He did pretty well with Anderson. Derek Anderson, the backup quarterback, got the win down at Tampa Bay. But what about Sunday at home against the Lions? They got that guy Matthew Stafford, not a bad quarterback at all. He's got that guy Megatron, that Calvin Johnson. How about that Lions-Panthers matchup? And what about Eric Ebron? What will he end up doing Sunday?
Well, let me go to the last part of your question. Eric, I think, is going to be probably a coming out party. He's back in North Carolina, where a lot of people are going. I'm going. Matter of fact, I will be there.
That's at Panthers Stadium.
Yeah.
Didn't they play the Belt Bowl there? Didn't Eric
Absolutely,
play
he played in the Belt Bowl with Carolina, and they won. So he had won a game in the Bank of America Stadium. And the second part of your question, Andy, I think before I saw Detroit play Monday night, I was all the way with the Panthers, but Detroit has so many weapons with passing, and you got to look at Carolina's secondary. Captain Martinelli is gone.
Yeah.
He was the head defensive back for Carolina Panthers. Luke Coakley, he can't go down the field and be able to stick a receiver past the 10 yards. So that secondary is young and weak, and you have Golden Tate, you have Calvin Johnson, you have for forward the other tight end, and you have Eric Ebron.
Yeah.
So they have 4 different receivers that Matthew Stafford can go to at any given moment of the game.
What about, you got Luke Kuechly, you got Thomas Davis, you got a great linebacking combo between those two, got a good defensive line. Charles Johnson, don't hear a lot about him anymore. What about Greg Hardy? Should Greg Hardy be in that game on Sunday, or should Greg Hardy be somewhere receiving counseling these days? What are your thoughts about that? I mean, that's kind of beyond or outside the lines where the ESPN guys like to go sometimes. That's kind of beyond the game, beyond the glory, beyond the game a little bit. What about that defense? And what about, should Hardy be in that game Sunday? And what about that defense looking to slow? Because they've got a great defense. That's one of the Panthers' strong suits, I do believe. You mentioned the defensive backfield, how that's changed, but they did bring in some good
defensive back.
Roman Pfeiffer guy from New Orleans. He's a darn good. But what about that defense? What about that situation going back and looking at Greg Hardy? Should he be out there Sunday? If you're Mr. Richardson, if you're Mr. Goodell, are you thinking about possibilities where he should not be on that field Sunday?
I think now what you do is, with Greg Hardy's situation, I think you go ahead, you have to let him play. I think that they made an example out of Ray Rice, so now you can't go back and punish every guy for the domestic violence. I think from now, this point on, that they're going to come down with lifetime suspensions. I think that
the old lifetime ban.
Yeah, lifetime ban. It's going to be rough now, and I think Greg Hardy, he got by with that part of it.
So you think the time and how his thing happened may actually benefit him?
Absolutely, because Ray Rice suspension was 2 games, and then when TMZ came out with this video, wow, it went viral, it went national, but Greg Hardy stayed somewhat in-house, so you can't go outside
it's
now.
Almost like now TMZ are the kings of media this week. TMZ are the kings of the show right now.
Absolutely. And I think, and it's just like,
it's like TMZ's got more going on for them than the NFL has going on for them.
Absolutely. TMZ and whoever was responsible for the camera in the elevator, they're going to have a big payday.
If that video was on that camera in that elevator back when it happened, why didn't the NFL have it right after it happened? That's the question. And now we're hearing that they did have it, but they didn't tell anybody that had the video.
Right.
If you got it and you say you had it, but you didn't look at it, why didn't you look at it?
Why did you look at it?
All these questions, man.
Yeah, and the thing it is,
I'm not the court jester, but there's a lot of questions out here.
Absolutely. And the thing I was talking about today on the phone, and is that somebody somewhere dropped the tape. Somebody somewhere dropped the tape. Somebody somewhere made a big mistake, and now Roger Goodell is trying to play the big cover up as a big chief. You know, that's sometimes what the big chief does.
And he tells you from now on, if Commissioner Goodell says I don't have the tape, you can't believe him anymore.
You can't believe him anymore. You had to find somebody else to get the tape from. And I think that it's sad. It's a sad situation all around for Ray Rice, as you said today in our conversation, that they should think about giving him another chance, and you never know how this thing will turn out.
I don't think you give him a chance this year. Maybe give him a chance next year.
Absolutely. Reevaluate it, and
I'd like to see again. I can't look that far ahead. Nobody can, but it would be interesting to see the solidarity or the solidity of his relationship. Where's his relationship going to be a year from now? His marital relationship. I'm going to be interested to see what's happening there too.
I think, Andy, when you look at this thing, it's going to be such a financial gain for Ray Rice. A lot of people don't realize it, but he's going to get a lot of financial gain. There's going to be movie book. There's so much come out of these things that make you and I wonder, how can all of this happen? But we're living in a society where reality is finance. You look at all the reality shows $1 million makers now.
I can tell you one of the craziest things I remember about titles. One of the book titles came out a couple of years ago, and it's completely off our subject, but it still kind of fits the overall subject matter. Was when Eric Bischoff came out with his book, the WCW man, Eric Bischoff. His book was entitled "Controversy Creates Cash," and that's all this is doing right now.
All it's
There's
doing.
going to be a cash cow running around here with chocolate milk, regular milk, and all kinds of milk coming out of that cow. And you look at Goodell. Even if he does lose his job, if they force him out, they're still going to be paying him for about the next 5 to 10 years.
Absolutely.
$40 million a year.
So you're right. And then now Ray Rice is going to be an advocate for domestic violence, and every time he go to to speak publicly. There's going to be financial gain there.
I'm not going.
Right.
I'm not going to pay for that.
You know, and you're going to have, as you said, it's going to be a lot of people that's going to be getting fat cash from behind this, you know, and then there's, again, that's the society we live in. I'm like you, I wouldn't pay a penny for it, you know.
Right, because I've asked these kids on this show a couple of times, if I give you a stack of money, what's the one team in Guilford County you wouldn't play for? And they always have a team they'll mention. No matter what you gave them money-wise, they would never play for that team.
Absolutely.
So that kind of fits here what you're saying about this. And, you know, the thing about it is kind of sad. You think about all this money going towards something like that, and how crazy, how that's the king of the attention of the media right now. And then you look at a situation like we should really be learning from, like with Coach Chris Kyle, Southeast Guilford.
Absolutely.
You know, that's
Absolutely.
That's where you can really learn something there.
Absolutely, and I'm glad that you brought that up. That's what I was thinking, that with all the things going on, when I was sitting in that chair, I couldn't think of anything else that is going on around me to look at this coach that no one is putting on the news of giving his heart, his mind, his body, and his soul to these kids and going through the battle he's going through. There's so many coaches, so many heroes like him that we are not even looking at, you know.
And he was a little leery about coming in to do this show, but again, his wife encouraged him to because he could help some other people. And if he can help anybody, it's worth that time he spent with us. And we do appreciate Coach Kyle coming and being here this evening from Southeast Guilford, talking about his battle with cancer. And again, it was around his lip, around his mouth, and they have no idea where it came from.
Yeah. And I heard the question that you asked, was it from a tobacco product? You know, a lot of coaches dip and chew, but you know, and it just dawned on me when he said that he had a numbness in his tongue. And you know, sometimes we all bite our tongue and the next day it's sore, you know. And a lot of times things happen, you know, you just let it go and you don't notice it. But some of the signs that we have could be signs of this or that, and we let it go unnoticed. You know, undetected, you know, detection is better than undetected, but you know.
Tell you what, you don't know what's going on inside that body. And he talked about the fact, going for those treatments, about 60-some different treatments, and about the fact they cut him on his neck, they cut him inside his mouth, they even cut open his side to check on his side, too, to see if any cancer had spread there. I mean, it's like they checked him inside and out. They took him apart, put him back together again.
Yep, absolutely. And, you know, in the story that he stated, his story was that when he see other people in worse situation than he is, it make him stronger, and that's life, and that's where it should be for us. That I always tell my kids, there's somebody always worse off than you. And you know, and you think your situation is bad until you look at theirs. You know, you complain about you don't have good shoes, and look at a man that have no feet at all. You know, so it put things in perspective in life. And I'm so blessed, and that it touched me when I see a person like Coach. It really touched my heart to let me know that things are not as bad as we think they are for us when you look at someone else.
Hey, we're on our way. We're making the move, working hard to get through it all and getting it done. His wife, a lot of strength comes from her, too. Got to give her a lot of credit. He said she's been as tough as anything he's ever seen, and the way she's backed him up, supported him and his little daughter, same way they're their family. Coach Kyle and his wife, both teachers at Southeast Guilford. And speaking about the ball games, to kind of close things, kind of wind things down tonight, so we'll have a chance to grab some of the great food here at Shane's. In fact, that last week had that rib sandwich, and that went a long way. Thanks for that rib sandwich. May get that Big Dad tonight, get that barbecue tonight. Check that out. A little bit of slaw to go with that.
Good.
Always good food, and boy, it's great food at Shane's. Chicken salad sandwich, chicken tenders. They got we had Paul who spoke here last week. Paul came in and gave us a few good words about the good food. Here goes Rick Haas out of the door. Good to see Rick Haas in the house tonight at Shane's, and former Grimsley graduate there. We got John Swihart in the house tonight. John's still hanging with us. Good to have him on board.
Always good to see John.
Let's get some games in your hands here. How about the big game tomorrow night just down the street? High Point Central at Grimsley. It's been a tough year for Grimsley. Got the first win of the year last year against Andrews. Central yet to lose. How about that big one on Friday?
Yeah, when I look at the secondary of Grimsley, the way that they perform over at Ragsdale, Jamal Matt is on a totally different plateau of quarterback, and the receivers is just so phenomenal. And Grimsley is not going to have much of an opportunity for stopping, no answer to stop Mr. Mack.
It's going to be about Central then.
Yeah, it's going to be all about Central. I look at Central, three touchdown victory of the way Central has been playing.
What about that big matchup going on with Western Guilford and Southwest? The game will be out tomorrow. You got all the activity on the field. You hope that doesn't affect the kids. I don't think it will because they're a little bit younger, so much younger than when Coach Henderson was involved. They're going to see after tomorrow night, Coach Doug Henderson, Western Guilford. What about Southwest Western? You see Western get the first win of the year?
Well, the
Southwest Guilford Cowboys coming in. They're 2-1 coming in.
I think Southwest, but I think Western will beat Southwest. I think Western going to do it at home due to the way Western's been playing. Southwest been playing as well. Southwest 2-1. Is that correct?
Yeah, they beat Andrews in overtime. They beat they won the first game of the year. They beat Andrews overtime. They won the first game of the year against somebody. They won the first one, I think, a close game as well. I have to go back on my memory bank there on that first game they played. I know they got that win against Andrews overtime. They won the first game of the year by 1 point. Southwest.
Yeah, certainly did.
Yeah.
We'll get back to that, right? And I know you're gonna think of that like yesterday.
Oh yeah, I kind of
like yesterday, you thought you couldn't think of a name, and you called me right back.
Heath Lineberry, yeah.
But Western, I think Western will prevail with all the packaging and
County beat
everything.
them pretty handily. Rockingham County like a drum, yeah.
See, man,
Southwest
Rockingham
County. High Point Andrews second game by 19-18 in OT. But you lean toward Western. What about Northwest Guilford, Reedsville? Reedsville has yet to lose. Northwest is 2-1, on the verge of going 2-2 if they drop that game tomorrow night.
Northwest has been playing on a last-second heroic game, the first two games, and you can't go to Reedsville with that type of mentality, that type of playing style, and I'll have Reedsville beating them 2 touchdowns.
Okay, the final game for you for tomorrow night, looking over some of these. What about Page and Ragsdale? That's a real big matchup. Page is yet to win. That's hard to believe because they played Butler about as stiff as anybody's played the #1 team in the state all year long. Page and Ragsdale. Ragsdale's 2-1. They've been getting by the skin of their teeth with Tevin Quick, their wide receiver, being their quarterback. What about Page Ragsdale, Dennis?
I think Page get their first victory tomorrow night. Page, the way they played Matthew Butler, they are coming off of a mental win. That's a mental win for them because you played Matthew Butler as tough as anybody. You went over to Northern the week before and just got a spanking, and then you come back and you play Matthew Butler like that. That says a lot about that program, man. We have to look at.
The crazy thing is, I wondered how they got it going, and I wondered what happened. I thought maybe they may have sat down Dominic Britt, but Dominic Britt got injured, so he was out of the game because of a shoulder injury. They brought the Jones kid in. Jones kid had a very good game at quarterback for Page that night. Just made a change. Things started to click. Sometimes that happens that way.
And you're right. That's one of the things I believe in. When one star go down, another one have to step up and shine. We've seen that so many times. And another thing, you remember last year, Page Power started off with 0-5, and then they came back and they got on track. So, and they made it to the second. They made it to the first round of the playoffs. They got ousted out. The first round of the playoff, absolutely. So they ran the table, but they don't have Jalen Gavin, and they don't have a couple other guys they had last year. But Page will get their first victory tomorrow.
Page wins. Also winning tomorrow night will be High Point Central.
High Point Central.
Going to top Brimsley.
Western Guilford.
Western Guilford is going to beat Southwest.
And we had my other pick was Central, Western Guilford,
Reedsville over Northwest.
Yeah, Reedsville over Northwest.
Okay.
And so it's the fourth game of the season for a lot of teams other than Northern. That'll be Northern third game of the season.
And they got Williams.
They have Williams.
So they should definitely win that
game. That'll be a victory for them.
I think it will be a test for Northern next Friday night when they take on Reedsville.
Yeah, that's going to be a good test.
You remember the Reedsville game last year?
Oh, yeah.
Went into overtime. Remember that?
Overtime, yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing, another that we have to look at.
Remember we announced that game as Reedsville had actually beaten Northern over the PA system at Eastern Guilford last year. Yeah, remember that? That's pretty interesting.
That was one I know we have to close, but that was one that we'll never forget. That I see it now. The ladies in front of us, and they got so excited and started cheering and making noise. And then I came back to you and I said, Andy, look.
Yeah, the game's not over. They went overtime. It's alternating possessions. Reedsville scored first. Many had thought they'd won,
No,
but
they had
alternating
won.
possessions,
That's right.
Northern scores, and Northern wins in double overtime. And somebody had to come back and announce that that sure wasn't me. I wasn't going to get on that microphone again after what I had said. I just had a big crow souffle.
I know. That's the fun of conversation.
Oh, yeah,
that's the
fun
part
about being
people
out
don't
there.
get to see. That's the fun part.
I'll tell you one of the funniest things ever, and I got to close out on this because I don't want to go too far, but one of the most interesting nights I did something similar to that was back when I was back in 9th grade playing JV football. Now, Sunday afternoon, we were going to go play pickup football that Sunday afternoon, so I hopped on a horse with a guy. We didn't have a saddle. He's in front with just the reins. I'm hanging on his waist. We're running down the road, that horse. I fall off the horse, land in the road, break my arm. My season's over. I'm done for the year. 9th grade, after about 4 or 5 games, I'm done. I was doing quite well. They talked about putting me on varsity, maybe some varsity football. Who knows? But I broke my arm, so I got the broken arm. I go to the game that Monday night. Got a Monday night game. We got rained out back on that Thursday, so we're playing the next following week on a Monday. Go to the game with a broken arm. Say, hey, you go to the game, you'll be with us. Okay, get to the game. They said, well, darn, you're on the sideline. Get in the press box. Be a spotter for the PA man. I said, sure, I'll do that. So I got up in the press box. I become the spotter for the PA man. He goes, okay, give me all the information on these plays. I said, sure. He goes, okay, East Davidson ball. Western guy, who made the tackle? I said, that was Durham on the tackle. Durham on the tackle. Next thing, everybody in the crowd, what's going on? Next thing you know, I led the team in tackles that night. And on the PA announced East Davidson. That's where we were, East Davidson. Next thing you know, he goes, who made the tackle? I said, that was Jones. He goes, Jones on the tackle. He was our coach. Next thing you know, I started throwing the cheerleaders' names out there. It was a crazy night. You wouldn't believe it. We're at East Davidson. The guys got me as a spotter. I led the team in tackles with the broken arms in the press box. And the PA guy goes, who are some of those names you're getting? What's going on? I thought, you know, I got to give you the information, my friend. Wild night.
Oh my goodness.
People love, that's a true story. True story. I was making the tackles in the press box inside the PA man. And the coach was tackling. The cheerleaders are making a tackle. Even had the bus driver. He was